Howdy. Bonus error. It's been like, probably 3 weeks since I've done a stream on my own channel. That's just me doing my own thing. I think the last time I streamed was I was helping, Tummy with building the RG Sazal B, but that was like a collab where I had a very, secondary role. So I hope I remember how to do this. I hope I'm not, like, currently muted, for example. I don't think I am. I'm looking at the bars on my OBS, and they're going up when I speak, and they're not gray. So that's cool. Yeah. That's pretty much what's been going on with me. I've been very, very busy this month, and I finally have a reprieve, which means it's time to make my own fun, instead of, not being able to stream what I'm doing. But I'm sure I'll get back to being way too busy soon enough. Such is the burden of wanting to make stuff. Okay, so, what I'm doing today is at the behest of a couple folks, mostly myself though. Where am I looking at here? Capture groups, dev, Unity. I am taking the heart rate monitor plugin that I keep working on, that I've been working on for the entire portion of this year, as my ongoing project, and this is a thing that connects to the VTube Studio API. Programming alone on a Sunday night? God, I'm pathetic. Yeah. I wanted to put the full thing in my go live notification, but I didn't want Twitch to flag me for, like, needing, I don't know, help or therapy or something. Yeah, programming alone on Sunday? Well, you're here, so can't be that alone. Hello, Shiki. Hello. And hello, Bon. Bonus error. Okay, yeah, so I got my plugin here that does heart rate monitor connection stuff for VTube Studio, and it connects to VTube Studio via the API, or Application Programming Interface. I want to then build an API for my plugin that builds on top of that. So you can connect to VTube Studio's API, feed all of the heart rate data to VTube Studio to do your various tracking tasks. But also, if people wanted to build stuff that reads the heart rate data out of my plugin, they would be able to. For example, if you wanted to connect to a different kind of tracking software that isn't VTube Studio, if you wanted to build a widget that reads your Ant Plus device's heart rate, that kind of thing. So you just have layers and layers of data flow for this one. That's pretty much the plan for this evening. To that end, I actually already started a little bit of this because I wanted to prove it out before I exposed myself as a fraud on stream. And I got a bit of a setup for this where we're able to start up a WebSocket server, and we have different services that we can spin up. There's a data service. I made an event service. You can connect to them, and they will spit back the information that we have in our plugin. So, for example, the data will spit back all of the parameters that are currently in being injected into VTube Studio, and then the event one is going to send out an event every time something like a emotion gets triggered or a hotkey gets triggered. And that way you can build on top of this. You don't even need to have a Live 2D, Puppet, or VTube Studio open. You just need to be able to set it up and configure it, and you can get data out of it that way. So to prove this out, to show this working, I'm going to boot up Unity. This is, what port was this? This is port 8090, okay. We're going to spin up Unity. I'm already mad because it made my heart rate way too high. Let's lower that a bit. There we go. Happy blushing. So Unity's running. Now I'm going to open up my browser and use the best JavaScript tool money can buy, which is your browser. So I will instantiate a new WebSocket to test if this is working. We're going to do ws. Oop, hold on, connection failed. Eh? That shouldn't be how it is. Oh, wait. That's because I did slash and not one. There we go. Never mind. Hold on. Why isn't it like this? I maybe don't need the slashes? Like that? Ooh, I should have tested this before stream. I was doing this the other day, where I was able to instantiate a WebSocket in my JavaScript console in my browser, prove that I'm able to connect to my plugin here, but it doesn't seem to be going. API Manager is started. Let's go back to Unity and figure out what's going on here. So we have our API Manager and our managers stack here. Ant Manager should be part of that too, but whatever. API manager is on. We should be starting our on port. Let's see. Start on port 8090, okay. And I need to verify that this is actually starting up somehow. Not sure what the best way to do that would be, but I guess I can do just a easy debug.log, this .server is listening. And I should probably put this in a polling loop so I can see when it actually happens, because I think start is an async method, and it takes a second to get going. So we'll see. Let's just do that. Public or private void update. I will destroy this later because you never want to spit this out that frequently. Server is listening. Let's see what happens. Alternatively, I may have just forgotten what the syntax for connecting is. Okay, it is listening. That's cool. So then what's the issue? Get rid of that. We swing it back over to Unity. See that it in fact boots up. Go back to the browser. What do I need to do here? WebSocket. WS. I thought it was :// localhost 8090. Why would this fail? Back to VS Code. Okay. How do I connect to the VTube Studio API? That would be plugin. Alright, plugin. What is the path here? We need our WebSocket, VTS WebSocket, WS / localhost : Okay, so that is the correct syntax. Browser. Am I spelling localhost wrong? WS : / localhost : port number. Oh, I'm stupid. I know why. So what I get for forgetting. And not having touched this in like a month. Okay, so I set this up. I mentioned I did a little bit of legwork on here, right? Where I wanted to prove out that I could get a actual API functioning here. And so to that end, there is nothing listening at just localhost the port. There's localhost the port / data and localhost the port / events, and you need to connect to those. It's like I'm basically getting a 404 right now when I try and connect. So if I go back to my browser and do localhost 8090 / data, it'll connect. And then I can do ws.on message equals, I think it's like this, d. This is probably not correct syntax for JavaScript either, but that's what I get for being out of the loop. Console.log json.stringify. Probably going to complain that this is not valid. Missing. Oh, yeah. Okay, not what I meant. E for event. No. Use trusted is true, is all it's sending me. Why? That's not accurate. Before we stringify anything, what did we just get for our D? And there's no second parameter here. Ah, right, okay. There we go. I don't know that I can Oh, I can make it bigger. Cool. I don't actually need the browser here. So now I'm getting like a fire hose of the data that is currently being sent to VTube Studio. I'm going to go ahead and move my slider. You'll be able to see the... oh, I guess it freezes when I minimize it. The heart rate value here went up from 53 to 182 or whatever. And so we have our interpolation values, heart rate, and various parameters, which are useful for doing whatever you're doing. So the other thing is there's like an event API that I would need to stub out. I don't have that hooked up at all. Right now I just have the fire hose for getting your parameters set up. What do I want to do? So I need to codify how I structure messages like this into a nice organized way that will be standardized, because I will probably have more features of an API later, as much as I just want to make this do nothing right now. We have timestamp, heart rate, and then parameters contains 4 child properties. I think I need to do... what do I want to do? I want to structure this kind of like how VTube Studio does their stuff. I'm going to go ahead and stop Unity here. So an example of that in here is, if I go back to the plugin, actually I can go to models here, VTS data. It's always structured like this. There's the API name, which I don't really know why that's there. There's a timestamp, which is important. API version, every request has a ID, though in this case, my API is going to be one way. I have an angry expression. Hold on, let me fix that. Me not remembering how to organize my stream deck. Hotkeys, emotions, reset. I am no longer angry. But I did just press a hotkey here. Yeah, so okay, the VTube Studio API, every time you send a request, you send an ID with it, and when you get a response, it'll have a matching ID. And that's how I'm able to figure out what corresponds to what, because WebSockets are not synchronous. You can submit a response, and then you will get an unlinked, unrelated response back, maybe. It's not like HTTP at all. So use this GUID to coordinate your request responses and figure out if you got a successful response or not. That's kind of the backbone of my library, is being able to do that, and building a processing engine that will automatically handle that for the user, so they can just write code as though it were synchronous. And then there's a message type field, which is what you specify, where you specify what your request type is. But mine is going to be, I think, well, I don't know. I don't have a good enough forward thinking here to know if I am going to have my API be exclusively read-only access. I can't imagine what you'd write into this via the API, other than, I guess, heart rate data, as maybe a single endpoint where you can feed that in. But that would be an anomaly, and that would be a third kind of, like, slash here, I think. So that would have its own structure. So I think I want to... oh yeah, and then so there's also, then finally, just a payload object on each type of message that's different between everything. That's why I have a data definition file here that's like 600 lines long, because that's just how it is. Every single type of request and response for the VTube Studio API gets a different arbitrary payload based on whatever it's trying to do. And I think that's pretty much how I'd need to do it here. So let's do that. We have our data message, which is this guy. We have our base API message, which has a timestamp. So what other fields did I want to take? API version makes sense. I don't think I need a request ID for this. I'll do an API version, that makes sense. And then data message is going to be like that. Parameters, who that is. Hey Denchi, thank you for, once again, it's been 5 months since I enabled affiliate. Jesus Christ. Hi Denchi. I am building an API on top of your API right now. I just want you to know this. I am building a WebSocket extensible API for my plugin that will let people connect to the plugin. The plugin in turn connects to VTube Studio. We can just have an infinite number of WebSockets. It's fine. It's been a while. I don't stream very often. I feel kind of bad about it, but my goal, my ambition is not to be a famous streamer, not to be a famous broadcaster. It is simply to help VTubers and other people in this environment ecosystem thrive. So I stream a little bit because I've got stuff to show, but mostly I just want to build tools that enable other people. Loud alert, I'm awake now. Hi Lua, I'm glad you're here. You've received a gift subscription from the one and only Denshi __. I recognize some of those words. Yeah, it's just lots of layers, right? So Denshi built VTube Studio, and it has an API you can connect to with a WebSocket, which is just a communication protocol. Much like how your browser uses HTTP, WebSocket is a different kind of protocol. For more information about this, please consult my YouTube page, where I did a whole lecture series with Taishi about HTTP versus WebSocket when we were talking about translator tools. That's a fun one under my collabs playlist. And then, so beyond that, you connect to the VTube Studio, right? And you connect my plugin to it. The plugin feeds stuff to VTube Studio, and then I'm going to provide a way that people can get information out of my plugin. So you have your one-stop shop for connecting your heart rate monitor to this thing. It can accept an arbitrary array of ingest services like Pulsoid, Ant+. Where's that? What's happening here? Oh, also thank you for the follow, Lou. You have successfully joined the skeleton crew. There's a very famous skeletal adage that says if it does not read "rest in peace" on your tombstone, you get drafted into the skeleton war. And I'm very, very, very grateful that you, of all people, have decided to voluntarily enlist instead of getting drafted, because it means I have to reap one less soul next time I go out killing. So, thank you. The skeleton war is ongoing, but we don't have very many battles, so it should be pretty lax. Where do the skeletons fight? Other skeletons, mostly. We're not that different than, like, the flesh havers up here, where we just don't get along amongst ourselves. There are some, like, weird, incomprehensible denizens of hell, I suppose, that also cause problems, but I won't bore you with the details. Just know that your voluntary conscription is going to save somebody from being sucked into hell. Thank you. Yeah, anyway, it's a lot of APIs. Many, many layers. So that's pretty much where I'm at. And right now I'm doing the most stressful part of building an API, which is figuring out the right way to do it the first time around. Because as soon as you build an API and publish it into the wild, somebody will build a tool that relies on it. And if you ever need to make a change, you're going to break their tool and you're going to break their heart. And tools can be fixed, but hearts not so much. So it's very important to get it right the first time, instead of having to explain to somebody that they need to fix their code, because they might not have the time, effort, willpower, any of that. Important code. Oh, okay. Walk in. First thing I hear is Fleshlander. What the heck, Tom? Important coding question. Do you wear your dress shirts and sweaters while wielding a sword on the field of battle? Yes. Yes. I'm gonna go with yes on that one. If this informs your fan art, then I'm gonna say yes, because I would like to see that. Yes. And then heart surgeons would disagree. I guess that's true, but do I look like a heart surgeon to you? I hope not. I really hope that I don't look like your heart surgeon. Because if your heart surgeon looks like me, that's not your heart surgeon, that's the Grim Reaper, and I've got some bad news about how the operation went. Alright, so Denshi, I'm basically copying your API. I'm going to add an API version, and there's going to be a timestamp, and then there's just going to be an arbitrary payload called data. We're going to call this data. Data. I'm doing this because I respect you as a programmer and as a designer, and also because the VTube Studio API hasn't bitten me in the ass so far, and it seems pretty extensible in terms of being able to add both requests and responses, and like other things like that. I should also probably add a field here for like message type. Public string message type. Like so. And then in here you would do public data message. I don't know if I'd call the VTS API good, but I'll take it as a compliment. It has not bitten me in the ass, is all I can ask for. Literally all I can ask for is that it doesn't constantly change. It doesn't have weird quirks that are impossible to figure out even if they're not documented. It doesn't have a ton of bloated fields that I don't know. So the only field I don't understand is why you have an API name. I assume this is just like a thing you did because it was the first field you made for your message type. But I don't understand why you'd have, or who would care what the API name is. I don't know what you'd ever use this for, other than it looks good. But we've got our message type, you've got your request ID, API version timestamp. I don't think I need a request ID for this one because this is a read-only message over here. Or at least the data message is a read-only message. I think they probably all will be. But anyway, so data message, we're going to do this dot data is new data. And we're going to do this dot message type equals data response. I can't do single ticks because I'm not writing JavaScript. I just spent the last month of my life writing like strange mood door fortress style writing JavaScript. So you're gonna see all of my worst code practices come out right now. If I go back to my browser here and close this, I'll do a momentary bit of shilling for myself. I spent the past month of my life basically making Picrew again from scratch because I'm a crazy person who doesn't accept pre-built tools. And so this is all HTML and JavaScript right here. I built like a tool that lets you make a little doll of Kason for her birthday, and she seems to like it. Her manager at least liked it. I know her manager tweeted the doll that she made using this tool, which is cool. I don't know if like Achan plays the fan games in HoloLive, or I don't even know anything about the Ninja Sanji managers. So having the manager play a fan game feels like a piece of uncharted territory for VTubing. You madman. Yeah. This was fun. It was nice to work with people. I would definitely say if you're ever going to make a Picrew, never let people make their own... Oh, hold on. I'm using an outfit that obscures the arms. Let me change that to something like this. Never, ever, ever, if you're making a Picrew, let people make their own arms. No, I did not. I have no artistic ability whatsoever. The artists are all of these people. I think we have like something like 60 some odd artists. I know we got 533 individual pieces of art was the grand total at the end of this over the course of the month. But yeah, if you're ever making Picrew, don't let people make their own arms, because then you'll have... The chibi model here works out great because our artists are actually all sharing a single brain cell. But there are lots of instances where, like, the sleeves will not line up. You'll have stuff like this, where you've got these really great Turn A Gundam arms and this really great jacket, and they just don't line up at all. So you have to figure out how you want to handle situations like that. This was a huge pain. I had to manually decide, basically, if outfits would override the arms or things like that for every single possible type of outfit. The only one that does it for the chibi... Actually, no, there's a couple for the chibi. So, like, this overrides arms, and this overrides arms, and this overrides arms, because no arms would look good with these. But, point being that this is all JavaScript and HTML, right? So, I am very much in the JavaScript zone. This is like one 600-line JavaScript file. This whole app. So... I'll do things like forget semicolons or try single ticks for writing strings because it makes sense to me. That's neither here nor there, though. Let's go back to what we were doing. I can just shove that aside. We'll have a tiny case on in the corner, I guess. That's the default. Can I please change the face? No. No. Do you not like the art, Denchi? Are you an art hater? Do you not like looking at this very Dragon Ball Z inspired one? I can hit random again. This could just be the stream now of me hitting random. And, like, okay, here's another great example. Cool jacket. We've got this Turn A Gundam torso and, like, leg accessories and the cockpit. But the arms just do not line up with the jacket because there was no standard model for what the arms should look like. So you kind of just have to stretch your imagination or think that this is fine. I am probably the only person who cares. I think everybody who uses this is just like, it's cute, and understands that it is a, like, random mashup tool and that things won't always line up perfectly. But I think arm stencils were definitely a thing we should have had. There you go. I'm also really partial to the chibi one. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's this one. That's this one right here. If you want Keisan Shiba, we have an option for that. It's very good. You can give her the, where is it? Here, like the halo. We've thought of everything, don't worry. Perfect. Oh, actually, this is almost perfect. It's just missing one thing. Now it's perfect. Yeah, we've got everything. 533 individual pieces of art, all assembled here, all sorted and organized by hand, what goes over what, and data entry done by yours truly. I am proud of it. I hope that Keisan likes it. I hope everybody else likes it. It's the Keisan win. That's her. That's her. Anyway, I can clear this out. I don't need console close. Clear console. I just need a JavaScript console, so I'm using my browser. That's the only reason I have the browser open. What was I doing? Back to here. Back to C#. Strongly typed shit. We hate it here. Okay. We've got our message type as a data response. That makes sense to me. What are we complaining about up here? Data.heartrate doesn't exist anymore. That doesn't actually matter because we're just going to use the parameters, and one of the parameters is the heart rate. I'm pretty sure that's fine. Actually, I should just add, even though it's redundant, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Everybody's going to get on my case about this. Public float heart rate. I don't know why it's a... Actually, this could just be an int. But I'm going to make it a float because I hate precision and love suffering. So we're going to do this. And now it's data. My favorite string of things to say. Data. Data. Heart rate. Like so. And so now if I boot up Unity again. Oh, the other thing that's, like, most deranged about me, I'm pretty sure. What's happening here? What am I getting? Oh no, Denshi's retweeted me. Denshi, thank you. Thank you for the retweet, by the way, Denshi. I was just like, why is my Twitter blowing up? And it's because esteemed VTube Studio creator Denshi has retweeted my stream. Hello if anybody's here from that retweet, by the way. I hope I'm teaching you anything, but I'm sure I'm not. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to connect to our data endpoint here. Oh, well, let me go back to my browser. Data.data is where it's at. Okay. And then it's going to be this. And we're going to get a fire hose. There we go. But it's a nicely structured fire hose. So like if I... what do I want to do? I want to stop it from being a fire hose. I can't tell it to stop unless I stop Unity. So that's fine. Let's try that again. I want to structure this a little nicer. Or more readable. Yeah, it's just a fire hose of information, but that's what you want, right? So you'll get real-time updates pushed to you whenever your heart rate changes or any of those interpolation values change. Let's boot this up again. Let me make my WebSocket, and this time instead of just logging d.data, it's going to be json.parse, I think. Actually, I guess that's kind of what it should have been doing before. Let's see what happens if I tell it to do this. Okay, wait, no, that's what I want. So now we pause this, and we can inspect any one of these in a nice, strongly typed air quotes because it's JavaScript away. Yeah, I'm a little angry. I mean, I don't know. And here we go. Okay, so then you've got your data, you got your heart rate, and then the VTube Studio parameters. I don't know if I should, like, nest these again and be like data, heart rate, and then a child object that's like VTube Studio, and then have all of these under there, or if this is fine. I don't know what other arguments I'd be spitting out of here, but you've got your timestamp. It says the data response, though you actually don't need that because it's on a endpoint URL that's only solely responsible for spitting out data rather than a general purpose one. And with this, you can figure out what your current like breathing interpolation is, what the pulse interpolation is, where you fit along your linear color curve, what your action, and then I've got heart rate and the BPM are redundant, but I figure people are going to get on my case about that. So that's pretty much what I'm going to have here. And then for the events one, I want to have a separate, let me collapse that. I want to have a separate way that you connect. So instead of /data, you do like event or events, and this will, what's happening here? Who that is? What happened? My eyeballs are, or my eye sockets are really not what they used to be, so I can barely see. A surge. Thank you for following. You have joined the Skeleton Army, Army of the Undead. There is a famous skeletal saying here in the underworld that reads, if it does not say rest in peace on your tombstone, you get drafted into the Skeleton War. So thank you for your voluntary conscription. You are saving some poor draftee from being reaped and brought into the underworld as a Army of the Dead. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. You can follow along for many more coding streams in the future. On Sundays that aren't this Sunday, like about twice a month, I do cooking. I do an IRL cooking stream, despite being a VTuber, so that's exciting. I will teach you how to make, air quotes, authentic skeletal cuisine, like pizza, from scratch. You'll never want takeout again. I say, having bought a takeout pizza today and not making it myself. Probably my greatest shame, but it can't be helped. I was too busy clocking in my 5,000th hour of Dota to make pizza dough today, so it is what it is. Okay. Okay. So I think data is good, actually.
Well, you know I'm Italian.
Oh, that's a great one. I love that. Is that loud enough? Do I need to boost the volume on that? That's from Columbo. I don't remember what... Actually, no, I do remember what episode that is. I'm going to redeem that one again because I like it so much.
Well, you know I'm Italian.
Great sound redeem. That is from the episode of Columbo called Any Old Port in a Storm, where he grills a guy who's really into collecting vintage wine, and also he does a murder. So then, you know, Columbo gets his ass. Very good. I highly recommend everybody watch Columbo. It's probably my favorite television show. Sounds a bit quiet. I can fix that, I think. I can fix that right now. We'll do it live. What is it? Twitch channel points. You know I'm Italian. Can I edit this? Oh wait, no, it's already at max volume. I'd have to modify the sound file. So I will do that later. How do I get out of here? Save. Never mind, I was going to edit the mix it up and try and raise the volume on that particular redeem. Because my other sound redeems are all appropriately volumed, I think. Like, for example, this is fine. Always. I'm actually, like, having finished the Kson project, my life is much more available in terms of having time for fun things. Like I mentioned, I, like, played Dota today, which I hadn't done for almost all of June, because I was just nose to the grindstone. Every time I would clock out of my day job, it would just be time to work on the Pick Crew project. And that's done. So I'm free, for now, until I pick up another fun fan project to work on. Okay. So, things I need to do right now. I'm gonna assume that for a V1 of this API for tonight, I'm gonna say the data faucet's good. I don't know if I actually care about building any kind of auth into this. like, Denshi has a thing where it requires you to accept that the plugin is connecting to your API, and then it gives you a little token that you can use to say, hey, you accepted me in the past, so I don't need to prompt the user again. I don't think I care to do that here. I maybe should before I do a public release, but I don't think it's high enough stakes. And especially if it's read-only, I don't know how much I care. The only way a person can maliciously connect to your localhost WebSocket is if you already opened that port up to the greater internet, at which case you've made a terrible mistake. At some point, very deliberately made a terrible mistake, and it's not my problem. So I don't really see the need to add authentication or permissions to a read-only socket on localhost. It just seems like more steps. But I don't know. I can get nagged about that later, I'm sure. So what I need to do right now is I want to add a option to my settings menu here in Unity, where I can change what port the... Let me lower this thing again. There we go. Where I can change what port the API server is starting on, and also have a little status bar that says if the server is started up or not. I think I will probably have it not start up by default, but I'm not sure. That might be annoying, I don't know. So, now we get to the fun part where I get to use Unity to make prefabs. So we go to our container here, not navbar, scroll view, viewport content. I love making I love making UI in Unity. It's so much fun. Yeah, I don't know. The stakes for this seem really, really low, which is why I don't feel like I need to secure this particularly well. And especially because it is only running on local. If somebody were able to connect to that port maliciously, you have already somehow let a bad actor in. And at worst, they'd be able to, like, read some arbitrary parameter data. I guess they would know what your heart rate is, assuming you have it connected to an actual heart rate at the monitor at the time. I don't know what kind of evil you could do with that other than knowing that somebody's exercising. But they're not, like, outside exercising, so it's not like, oh, I know they're not home right now because they're out for their jog, I could break in. It's, I know they're in front of their camera, and they're in, you know, adoring audience, and that their heart rate's very high. Maybe I could take them in a fight. I have no idea. Exactly, I have you now. You can know when they're in the bathroom when their heart rate spikes to 130. That's true. That's a very good point, Shiki. Maybe I do need to secure this for that very reason. That's true. That's a famous VTuber anecdote. I don't even remember. I think it was a Niji Sanjay girl, right, who left it on. They'd know I'm close to death. They could take you in a fight, right? They know that you're at your most vulnerable. But again, it's a localhost WebSocket port, and the only way that somebody's connecting to that maliciously, as far as I know, is if you've let them in somehow. I'll probably add an authentication thing later. I just don't feel like setting that up on stream. And in the interest of time, I might not bother with that for our first pass. But if I did, it would function very similar to VTube Studios, where you send it a request to connect, and then it gives you a token, and you just need to connect and send that token, and then your connection's clear for the rest. 2 HoloLive talents have done it as well. Oh shit. Maybe literally, oh shit. What was I doing? I was doing settings. So we need to go to port settings. Oh, duplicate this. Oops. And now go to my... Actually, wait. No. Everything's a nested prefab in Unity these days. We've got here, go to our scene, duplicate this here. UI prefabs modules settings, I think, and this is going to be API port settings, and now it's its own thing. Own original prefab, put it here in the list, open this up. All right, everything. Oh, another thing that I've done since the last time I streamed this is I got a full Japanese localization of this plugin, courtesy of Joshua Tapioca of the Keisan Gumi, who is a very, very capable bilingual engineer that I was able to enlist the help of. So everything I've got now has all the text is like title placeholder because it's actually getting localized out of a CSV file based on a string key. So at some point in the near future, probably when like Taishi is less overburdened with his ongoing workathon, I'll have a couple VTubers that I know who are bilingual that I can communicate with, give it a run through in Japanese and see if they understand how to use it. Because I need somebody who's like familiar with VTube Studio and also speaks Japanese well enough. And also I can talk to them to get feedback from them. So it's like Taishi and Honeymelon are like the only two people I know off the top of my head that are like also my friends. That's a very, very, very restrictive list of criteria of people I need to run this by. It's like sample size 2. But if they both think the translation seems good and they like understand how to engage with the plugin, I will start getting work done for actually publishing the Japanese localization to the world. But for the time being, it's just kind of the silent passenger on every update that I do, where I have stuff like this. Okay, so this is setting, API, port title. And so this all reads out of a CSV, which I have on Google Drive as a Google Sheet. I have a little tool over here that lets me... Oh, you can't see the help bar here. But I have a editor extension for Unity that lets me download that and writes it to a text file in the assets folder. Single button for fix on that. Okay, so this is not going to be a drop-down. It's going to be a input field. Because it's a drop-down for VTube Studio, because VTube Studio tells you what port it's able to be on. This one does not. This is an element. Input field. There we go. And this needs to be... What? Why is this... Why is it like that? Why am I getting the X? This should be full width. What's happening? What's happening? There's a vertical layout group. Good. Input field should just be there. Height 30. Oh wait, do I need to specify the width? I hope not. I do need to specify the width. That's annoying. Okay, refreshable dropdown. You are... What? 30... 120... That makes that, what, 160? Because there's a 10 thing gap. Okay, so we're going to get rid of you now. Don't need the refreshable dropdown. The input field's placeholder is going to read... Because even the placeholder text needs to get localized. Oh, actually, the worst thing about the localization for Japanese is in order to get a font set that supports all the English and also Japanese characters that I needed, it increased the binary size of this plugin from 20 megabytes to 40 megabytes because the font set that I have that has like every Unicode character is 20 megabytes and it has to be uncompressed because of how text rendering works in Unity. So that's annoying. It doubled the file size, but it's still pretty manageable. These are Tales from Hell, I guess. This would be settings, API, port, input, and this is going to be an input field of type. I should be able to specify this somewhere. Oh wait, that's up here. Content type, integer number. Very good, very good. And then I need a button. Hold on, actually, what I need to do is panel, I guess. This is going to be with 330, I think, is the whole width. Put you in here. Oh, height is 30. Oh, bother. Oh, bother. And then this needs a horizontal layout group. I say I enjoy this, but it's basically like having to manually assemble CSS grid with my hands. Horizontal layout group. There we go. And then the spacing is going to be 10. Like so. So now I'm going to have input field here, a button that says like start here, and then the status beneath, I think is what I want this to look like. So we have a button. It's the other half of this. Boom. Oh wait, height 30, like so. You have our button side by side. Button needs to have text. This is going to be, well, for the sake start server, start API server, and then where's my localized text, settings, API server start, something like that. And then finally, I have a connection status indicator, this thing. Boom, like so. And instead of not connected, it will be not started or what have you. But this will be my little module for setting up the API. Oh, also, I guess the default value of this needs to be populated. So let's get rid of that. Don't need it. We will need the tooltip button. I will have to make a tooltip explanation for how the API works. We should probably also add, like, number of connections. Maybe. Maybe. I guess that's only if it's got people connected to it. One thing at a time, actually. One thing at a time. So now, let's make a script to slap on here, I guess. UI, scripts, modules. Do I not have a settings module, settings thing here? Color, heart rate, hotkeys. No, I guess I don't. Interesting. Where do I want to put this? I guess this would be in network WebSocket with the API manager. I don't have a better place to put this. API server settings, I guess, like that. Back to VS Code. So what do we need here? We need hookup. This is the thing that binds the manager class, which does all the thinking and managing, to the UI. So this is like the glue, basically. It's been so long since I've worked on this, I forget if I have any kind of standards like namespace for this project. Where's an example of something that might be similar? UI, scripts, modules, hotkey module. Are these in a namespace? No. Awesome. Cool. So we're going to have serialized field, private status indicator. Got that. I could do a quick and dirty, just set this based on an update loop, but that would create a lot of garbage. I don't know if I want to do that. Could be good. Could be good. Hold on, I need to get some beverage. I will be right back. Oh, Stardust Crusader 0, Stars Final Form, hello. I found out I got a gifted sub from Unoa when I was gone. Much thanks. Yeah, enjoy it. You get a whopping 2 emotes, these 2 emotes, from the subscription. So, I gotta add more. I gotta come up with better or more emotes. Mostly I just want the channel points though. So again, never feel like you gotta subscribe. Don't feel like you gotta pay me money. I just had to opt into affiliate to get channel points, and channel points are what make Twitch worth using. So I will be right back. It's fine, I deserved that. I'm back now. I have retrieved orange soda. My, I guess, beverage of choice tonight. I could have cracked open a bottle of wine, but I chose against it. Okay, so let's see. We can do this status. Actually, I need to expose away on the manager here to see if the server is up. That's important. So let's make an accessor here. Public. What would this be? Bool is listening. Get return this dot server unequal to null. And actually no, a boolean's not sufficient because there's the server could be closed. You could get an exception, like why it can't start up, like the port's in use. It's a helpful wallet for 1 point. Well, so my thought here was, like, you have to come up with a name for what your channel points are called when you become affiliate, right? And so it could just be like, wow, you got Tom points. You got Tom coins. But I figured every point should be a bone, because that's funny. If you collect a bunch of bones, that's funny. People think bones are funny for some reason. I wanted to have a channel redeem where if you collect enough bones to make a human body, it would just make a second instance of my VTube model, like, appear somewhere on the screen. But I haven't gotten around to that, because it doesn't seem very important. But anyway, my thought being, if you have your channel points are bones, then surely you should be able to throw a single bone at my head for 1 channel point. That would be insane if I charged you 100 bones to throw 1 of them at my head. That's a, like, 100% markup, or, no. That's like a 10,000% markup or something like that. So it would just be incorrect. So now you get 1 bone. You can either save it and get a better channel point redeem, like being able to make fun of me, or you can throw it like a impatient child and pelt me in the head for like 2 seconds of satisfaction. Your choice. Huh? 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, so is listening could be a boolean. It could be your server could be down. It could just not be listening. I need some way to also relay an exception to that field, I think. So I'm not sure what I want to do. What's the best way to handle this? So actually, what happens here if I try and... I gotta see for myself. What happens if I try and set this up on port 8081, which is in collision with VTube Studio? I'll get rid of that. And my settings here. I'll come back to you in a minute. But we will put the script on here before I forget. This is going to have API server settings. We have our status indicator. Cool. Oh, and let me go back to Unity. So I'm curious what kind of exception I get if I try and start a server on the same port. Surely I get an exception of some kind, right? That's not the exception I was expecting. Huh. It's not saying that I've got a problem with that. So now if I go to my browser here and connect to this, it should boot me, right? Or do I not understand how WebSockets work? Does that just work? Hold on. How could that possibly work? Well, that seems to be working. I'm very confused, though, because my VTube Studio port is definitely 8081. And that's still working. I'm also connected. Is it because I have, like, a slash endpoint there that, like, prevents it from having a collision? Can you have two WebSocket servers on the same port? If they're not listening to each other, is that, like, kosher? Denshi, do you know if you're still here? I'm very surprised by this. I was expecting to see an exception thrown here that says something along the lines of, you know, can't start server, port in use, or something like that in Unity. But it seems to just work. I don't know why. That's interesting. That's very interesting to me. Here. Okay. Well, whatever. Let's do public void restart server. This is going to be linked to our button. We're going to have our serialized field, private input field. I need to be using... Oh, I always forget to switch back to my ID. Using Unity engine .ui. And then you can have your input field, port input, it's null, and then we're going to take the value from here, and I'm going to need to, at some point, save this also, but that'll come from the API manager. Okay, restart server, we're going to do API manager instance stop. I don't have a function for that. Why would I have? Okay. Public void stop server, or it's just stop, I guess. So we do stop and then restart. So I don't actually need to tell it to stop if I'm in my restart function, because that's part of the restart method. So we're just going to do start server, or oops, API manager, start server on port, and we're going to do this dot port input dot value should be an option. Is value really not? Okay. I guess it's text? That's what it is? String? Okay, and then I need to convert this to a number first. So that's fun. I have like math utils, I think, for this. Right? Surely I have utils for this. Math utils. String to byte. I don't have anything that parses this to a number? Can I do the exact same thing, except instead of convert to byte, can I do to int? Cool. String to int. And then instead of 0... Actually, 0 is probably a fine thing to return. add a summary. Attempts to convert a string to an int. Returns 0 if unable to convert. I should add that to the docs up here. Boom. So now we do int port equals this dot port input dot text. And we're going to wrap that in math utils dot string to int port. Cool. And then we're going to say this dot port dot text equals port. Cast it to a string the easiest way by appending a empty string to the end of it. And then you can do, what else? What else do we need to do here? If port less than equal to 0. I should also add some validation of whenever the user edits that field, I think. What do I want to do? If it's less than or equal to 0, port equals 8080. There we go. I could have done that with a ternary, but it's fine. So we'll click the button, it'll read from the input field and start the server on said port. And then I need some way to include if that was successful or not. But one thing, I just punched my microphone, I apologize. API port settings here in Unity. So now we've got a couple other fields. We've got our input field. No? Doesn't like that? Oh, because it's like a text... Oh, I hate this. It's a text mesh pro input field. Let's change that, I guess. Using... Hate this. Yeah. And that's... All that changes and the API is the same, so it doesn't have any compiling problems. Back at Unity. This guy, assign the reference. Cool, that's well and good. What do I want to do next? Let's get the status indicator, I guess, nice and set up. So I will do this the easiest way I can think of, which is here there's going to be a is listening. TMP Chads Unite. Yeah, you finally twisted my arm enough, Denchi. It's the only way to get Japanese to render, so I had to do it. It was a real nightmare to rip out all the basic text and replace with TMP. And as I was complaining about earlier, because of the way TMP, or Text Mesh Pro, does not compress its text files, the compiled binary for this plugin went from 20 megabytes to 40, because I had to include a file that had all of Unicode in it. Very, very annoying. Very cumbersome. Yeah. But what's done is done. So this dot... Oops. What did I do? I hit 11. So I'm thinking I can either have an is listening thing and then pull for it in here and just check every frame to see if it's listening still and set the status so that as soon as it's not listening, you know, it sets to something else. Or I can make it so that you pass in, and this is kind of how I did it in a couple other places. Like if I go to my Pulsoid Manager, I think, over here, I did a thing where you pass in an action that consumes a connection status function, and then so you tell it to like connect to the thing. And if it's able to do so, it'll like update the status within the function. So it's kind of like a delegate or a promise in that regard. I might follow this behavior, though this it makes sense because this is like a polling loop. So every time it does the loop, it'll say like you're connected or you're not connected. With the server, if something causes the server to stop working or stop listening outside of a handled function call, it might not reflect it properly. I'm not sure. I'm going to try it regardless, though. On status. Because now I can do this, right? Which is really handy. On status, new connection status. Let me just copy this from the pulsoid thing. Like this. So we do this. We make our new connection status. We say that it was has connected. I don't think there's a delegate for here, so it's just going to be connected. We invoke the status. And there's a string here. So we'll leave it as is. I can do then, in the part where we catch the exception, I can have this update with error and invoke e.message. So it'll print out the exception. Wait, no, that's not where that goes. Status dot message goes e.message. So that'll print out, which is nice. And then in stop, do the same thing. But there won't be any exception this time. We'll just be disconnected. Like that. So status, like so. Close that. Then from here, this dot status on. What is it? It's set status like that. Then she's telling me about how you can generate text atlases on the fly, and I'm just like, but that seems like a lot of work though. Or the odds that something goes wrong and you didn't see it ahead of time, I feel like is more risky. Yeah, like as different characters are rendered for the first time, it generates them on the fly. But if I didn't proof all this stuff ahead of time, what if it just like doesn't have the character I need? Or something like that. I would be so worried that I'd ship code or ship an app that suddenly is missing valuable text because I didn't have the foresight to check it ahead of time. Okay, so we've got this. We've got our little status indicator. We're going to make our button over here on click. This guy right here. Back in Unity. You can add fallbacks. Yeah, that's what I ended up doing, basically. So I have the font that has everything in English, and its fallback includes one that's got everything in Japanese, and then one that has just Unicode symbols, and another that has Unicode symbols, which is quite nice, but kind of squirrely. Okay, this is going to do restart server, like such. Okay, moment of truth time. We're going to go... Oh, what's this? Uh-oh. Why is this running? Why is this... Hold on, where is this coming from? Where's my one reference to send data? What's happening? Oh, yeah. The plugin is just constantly telling the API to send data out. I need to couch this in if this dot server not equal to null, and all this other shit. Okay. Let's try that again. Denshi, when's the item API gonna be done for VTube Studio? Because that's gonna be like the next big feature for this thing. Is I have to be able to manipulate items or something with your heart rate. I don't know what it would be, but I'm assuming that's like the next big frontier. Cool, lots of strings not found. That's fine. I'm gonna do 80, 84. Hit this. It says connected. Cool. That's fine. String not found is what I would expect for this because I didn't update the strings file yet. It's now if I go over here and try and connect to what I was doing before, 8081/data, I should get bounced. Yes. Cannot connect to that, but if I connect to 8084, I won't get bounced. And now I can do this, and I get the fire hose again. Okay, so this is all working as I'd kind of expect, which is really good news. I just need to like add strings for this and some other things. Like I need to add a tooltip for this. This is incorrect. Yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying. Was that a? Oh, that's a case on emo. Why did she have a splash? Oh, for the blue super chats. I just went through like an entire whirlwind of discovery of figuring out what this emote was for. I was like, oh, okay, it's a wave emote. It's probably a Twitch default one. Hover over it. It's a case on emote. Why is it a case on emote? Blue super chat. I understand. I Walker understand now. Cool. Cool. Yeah, fire hose of data. That's like all I can compare it to. When you're just getting like every frame getting a new event here, it's a fire hose. And you can choose to care about it or you can choose to not care about it. That's the fun thing about WebSockets. But at any point in time, you have an exact snapshot for that frame for how you're doing. And they're all timestamped, so you can sort them. Figure out which ones came before which, if they came out of order. Okay, cool. So I should probably also add, I guess, a stop button here to turn off the API. So maybe this isn't the correct layout that I want then. Because right now I've got the input field and a button that's like start the server. But I probably want port start stop? I don't know. Because right now there's no way to turn this back off. Maybe an oversight. Or maybe this, instead of being start the server, is just like toggle the server. I don't know. Things to think about for not exactly right now. But cool, that works. Let's do one more thing I wanted to do, which is this. I want to add a counter for connected connected clients, right? So let's do this. Clients. The font size here is... what do I use here? What is the font size on this guy right here? 14? 14. Max size is 14. Min size is going to be 10. Why did that not resize? 14. There we go. I think that's kind of ugly, I guess, but I don't know. All the UI I make for this app is like extremely utilitarian. I'm typically of the opinion that it's fine. But that's just me. Postfix is going to be colon. And then in our thing here, What am I looking to do? Ahoy! Hi, you're just in time for me to, like, actually be kind of winding down. Because I've been at it for, like, 90 or so minutes. Gate, did you see I hit 5,000 hours in Dota today? Our big, exciting, Treant Protector win was my 5,000th hour of Dota. You and me, pal. If we had played one more game, I wouldn't have gotten that screenshot. I would have said 5,001 hours, and that would be not nearly as good. 5,000 hours, halfway to my pilot's license. Okay, so we're gonna do private int data. Wait, actually, hold on. There's got to be a way to manage this. Send data. Start. Oh, I know what I need to do. This is going to be public int data client count 5,000. Amazing, enchanting, should be framed on a wall. 5,001, useless garbage. Exactly. I got it exact. I should retire now. I should stop playing Dota because I have the exact 5,000 hour milestone. Yeah. Return. How do I want to do this? I know the data service down here, every time onOpen happens, it's registering a new client. Do I just need to have something like an incrementer? How do I... like int... 0. This is not public, this is private. And it's gonna return this dot data clients like such. Then way down here, the data service on open is gonna do oh no. This is not all nested in the same class, is it? Oh no, it is. Why can't I reach across? Lurking, hello. It's fine. Lurking is fine. Why can't I? Because it's private. That's why. Can I do protected? Is that what protected is for? I usually use protected for inheritance, but object reference is required for the non-static field or property. API manager. Oh, wait. Wait, does that work? Instance? Oh, wait, not this. This works? Huh. Kinda cursed, but okay. Is there a protected override void on close? There is. Gotta love networking. Yeah, I mean that's fine. I was more just doing weird squirrely stuff with nested classes based on close E. Sure, that's fine. And then we do minus minus or minus equals. I think that's how I have to do this, or how I want to do this. Basically, whenever you connect to this data service, it says that there's one more client, and then when you disconnect, there's one less. Alternatively, I can probably do this. Can I do like data host sessions dot count? This is what I actually want is like this. Huh. What's the best way to do this? My brain is just telling me to have an update loop where I'm constantly polling this instead of trying to get these things to, because I feel like this is not going to stay in line correctly. Let's close these for now. We don't need this. This is wrong. This is the wrong way to do things. They will somehow desync from the actual value. In times like these, the only thing you can trust is the update loop. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. If like such, and we're gonna say this dot data clients equal to data host dot sessions dot count. Beautiful, perfect, squeaky clean. What's it getting mad about? Oh, yeah, I get rid of this. That's not an instruction. And then I think there's a similar one for the event thing, but I haven't set that up yet. I got this. Like such. Might as well set this up now, though. Event clients. Event, and then finally total client count is going to be this dot event clients plus this dot data clients. Wow. So here we're going to have what are we going to do? Actually, this presents an interesting conundrum with the way I've got stuff localized right now. This connected clients would come from a like localized string, right? And then you'd have your like connected clients colon 0. And for most of the stuff I've got localized, you can actually handle doing something like that relatively easily. You just take the value of the string. You can actually add new entries into the dictionary. So I'd, for example, add a dictionary entry for like total clients and insert that to be 0. And then the overall localized string is like, actually maybe that's the right way to do things. So the string would say like total clients and then like $, connected clients or something like that. And it would know to insert this dynamic value towards the end of that. Let's put some strings in here. I gotta open up my spreadsheet off screen. And then once I do that, I can pop it into my web browser. I just don't want to leak any important files. Strings. Yeah, I could also just make the counter its own item. That's very smart, but then they might not line up. That's my concern. If it's its own item, I'd have to align it somehow with the text, and the text box width is not just like the smart width of the text. It is this whole thing, which is tragic. Let me... Can I move this over? It's gonna let me. Oh, nice. Okay, I can open my browser. So here is every string that I've got for this plugin in English and Japanese. This is how I do all my localization. It's just a giant spreadsheet. Zoom in a bit to make it more readable. I've got your language key, English, and then Japanese in the second column, and you can keep going for more languages. Though I don't anticipate on localizing this any further because I think these are like the big two languages that are spoken. So what I'm going to do is insert a row here. So we've got settings, API. What did I call these? API port title. API server settings. And then I gotta flag these rows as needing to be localized. That's a bit harsh. Like such. We've got our placeholder text here. Report number dot. That's a different color red than the one I used before, huh? There we go, and then we're gonna do there's a button here. Did I not give this a key though? I did. Start API server. And then lastly, we've got our text here, which is connected clients. And it's going to look like this. Insert one above, settings, API, server, and that's going to say connected clients. Like this. I think $sign is the value I use. No, %sign. Like this. Okay, so I will explain what is going on here in a second. I've got my localization tools set up such that if you use a thing like this with a $sign, it understands that that means another key in the set of strings that you have. And so I can also dynamically insert values into these, into the dictionary at runtime, right? So what I can do, after I download my latest CSV here, go back to Unity, is the following. And go back to VS Code, private TMP text. I actually don't need to reference this at all. Wait, no, that's not going to work. Because it won't be updated in real time. I was thinking I can just insert the number count, as a new string into the dictionary, like every frame. But that won't get updated in real time. So star might be right, where I have to just make it its own separate object. But I don't like that, because it's not going to do a text align properly. I will figure this out, a nice way to present this later. I'm just going to have this be the number for right now, actually. This is not going to get localized at all. It's just going to say 0 for right now. It's going to be ugly, but just proof that it works. I'll pretty it up like tomorrow morning or something. Connection count. Null. And then an update loop, we're just going to do this dot connection count equals this dot. Oh, not this. It's API server settings dot instance. Nope, I'm getting tired. API manager dot instance dot server settings dot connected clients total client count. There we go. And then make this into a string. No? Oh, break dot text. There we go. Client count. This is gonna have a reference over here. Now in my settings here, my strings are finally showing up. API server settings, enter a port number, start API server. If I try and start with no port, cool. Only one usage of each socket address, protocol network address port is normally permitted. I probably need to format this so it doesn't overflow, but we'll work on that also elsewhere. It would be cool if I could get it to expand dynamically instead of overflowing, but I don't know how to do that. Let's try 8081. Wait, is my VTube Studio on 8080 then? Hold on. Oh, wait, no, I can't. That's why. I was having some mysticism as like why 8081 worked before, but it's 8001, not 8081. I'm dumb. I'm just rusty and out of practice, really is what it is. Okay, so we've started our thing on 8081. If I go back to my browser now, over here, and we clear our console again, and I connect to 8081, I now have my beautiful value of 1 right here, indicating that I have 1 client connected. And if I refresh the page here and lose what I had, clear console history, it goes back down to 0. So it works. I just need to pretty it up somehow. And then, okay, so my to-do list is I gotta remember what port people want to save this on. I gotta pretty up the connection count, and probably also add a stop API button somewhere. I'm not sure exactly what that would look like, because I like this like two bar layout, and I don't want to make the input field like super wide when it just needs to hold a 4-digit number. I like having it be the same width visually as the thing above it. So I'm not sure how I want to structure that. If anything, it's probably just going to be the port and then 2 buttons beneath it that are each this wide. Then you've got connection, and then I'll need like a second header that is just listing these out in some easy to digest way. That's cool. I need to also make a new README for this, which is very secondary. And oh, one thing I can do here before I like sign off from my nice little hour-and-a-half block of programming is I can add some validation to the port number. Because like right now I could do, sorry, going back into Unity for a second, I'm jumping around. It says enter a port number, cool. If you don't put anything, it defaults to 8080 and it doesn't like that. I could do like -11111, and it will just think that's okay until I hit start server, and then it defaults to 8080 because I added validation logic only when you hit send or hit start. So what I need to do in here is add a on and edit function that's going to be public void val port value, string, value, like such. And it's going to do this. Like so. If your port's less than 0, it'll just default to 8080. And then we set the value to whatever we update it to be. I need to then change this. Can I just do... That says NALU also. Can I make this return an int? Like that. And then I can do... And also this would be value that gets passed in dynamically. So I could do that, where we validate at that point as well. And then if I go back into Unity, the question is, will it let me assign a function that has a return type to the input field here? They have a function call for on and edit. Can I assign a thing with a return type over here? If not, I'll figure it out. Dynamic string. No, it won't let me. Tough luck, I don't care. Because I'm going to do a nasty little programming trick using a lambda function. So we're going to say this dot port input dot on and edit. Add listener, and we're going to make a lambda wrapper function, so it becomes a void. We're going to do validate port value. Wait, it's going to be a v. Evil code right here. I am obscuring the return type because it wouldn't let me do this in the editor. There we go. Programmatically setting that up. But now, when I go to my settings in the Unity, in the actual app, when I tell this -11111111, it will snap to 8080. If I do 0, it'll snap to 8080. I probably need to also add an upper bound. I don't know what is the valid range of ports off the top of my head. Like, if I just do, like, a bunch of 9s, it's going to think that's okay. But then I hit start this, and it says, actually, that's extremely handy. Must be between these values. I get an error that tells me exactly what these should be between. Yes. Yes, exactly. Thank you, .NET. You've helped me. Let's add that in right now, actually. I wonder, actually, if that's based on something. If I can just make that a reference to a number instead of hard-coding it. Though there's no reason to not just hard-code it. It's supposed to be if it's less than or equal to 1. Wait, no, 1 is okay. I don't know when you'd ever have port 1, though. Or port greater than that. There we go. So just default to 8080 if you put in any of these strange values. And then we're good. We update our connection count every frame, which is fine. I need to figure out some way to present this in a nice, digestible format. Cool. And then there's no way to currently stop the API, but that's fine. I think we're in good shape here. Oh, actually, one other thing I can try and do is save what port number we're trying to connect to. in our overall save data here. So and then I also need a way to write that into this. So this would be public void set port. To value. We're just gonna do like such. We will validate the incoming value. Actually, this is funny. This is kind of a weird quirk because it wants to validate a string because it's an input field, but I want to save it as an int. So I can't reuse the same validate method to validate whatever's coming out of the save file easily unless I cast this to a string and then cast it back to an int. This is fine. We accept this. We accept this is the way to do it. And then we're going to do... Wait, the validate sets the value inherently. I don't need a separate setter method, actually. That's fine. I can just use validate because it's public. So now in the actual plugin thing here that manages all the save data, this giant bloated class that's like 620 lines long, model save data, global save data. Let's do... Yeah, it remembers the language you want to be and everything. Public int API server port. And then in the... Gosh. I want to strip out all the serialization stuff into its own wrapper class. So this is only concerned with doing like VTube Studio logic or like calculation logic. There's just too much bulk in here. And it's especially hard to read when the text size is really big for the sake of streaming. We've got our languages. Oh, wait. Okay, wait, what's the right way to do this, actually? Because I was thinking, oh, I don't need a setter method, but I don't have any way of referencing this guy right here from the load method, because this is just a chunk of UI, and it's not a singleton. The only thing that's a singleton is my API manager. So what do I want to do? How do I forget how I do this elsewhere, because there are other places where I need to connect or fill in text data. How do I normally do that? I guess I'd need to add a load method to the API manager here, or what do I want to do? I need some way. So the only thing I have a reference to is the manager. I don't have a reference to the UI. The UI should read from the manager. Oh, that spooked me. Because I was in my own head. Hi, Nana. You know I am Italian. It's true. How's it going? How is it going? I'll join in. I'll even do it myself. There you go. It's fun. It makes a great noise. A mighty thwack. Okay. What was I lost my train of thought. You knocked it out of my head. This needs to have some way to set the port, and then this needs to read from that on start, I guess? You're a shrimp now. Wouldn't walking make you not have the shrimp posture, or do I misunderstand? Please tell me how doing lots of walking makes you a shrimp. I'm very curious. Unless you mean you're like bright red, but then you'd be more like a lobster, like if you got sunburn. I don't know. I might just be able to bank on the start method only firing after the API manager is all set up. So let's do some bad stuff. Private int port. Honey, I Shrimped the Kids. Hit 2000 movie where a father turns his kids into shrimp like that. I feel like that after walking a lot. Watch me perform magic. I'm probably not going to be doing this much longer because I've been at it for about 2 hours and I can feel my cognitive faculties beginning to be whisked away to somewhere else. But I've got a couple more tricks up my sleeve. I'm glad you think it's magic, though. I'm just doing dumb shit that, like, maybe like 4 or 5 VTubers think is useful. It's mostly self-serving. What is this? Return this dot port. I haven't seen the Honey, I Shrimped the Kids movie, by the way. That sounds good. You should do a watch-along stream someday. I'd love to see it. Learn all about this shrimp culture. Okay, check this out. I'm about to do something extremely wicked. Equals not set port. See, this dot port equals port. You can see my cognitive faculties leaving me in real time. I will. It's the perfect dad movie. Thank you. I'd really love to see it because I'm the perfect dad. Set port. Okay, so this you can set the port from, which means that in here, I can do API manager dot instance dot set port, and this is going to be data dot API server port, like that. Okay, so this will set a value. This will set a value. Port, cool, awesome. Then, in my little UI hookup over here, and this is probably not where the validate function should be living, so I would probably move this to the API server manager in a second, because I don't think the validation should exist in the UI. I'm going to do on start, validate port value, API manager dot instance dot port. And then for my final trick, oh, it doesn't like that? Or it has to be a string. And for my final trick, I'm going to do API manager instance dot set port. So if I understand the chain of events here, it's going to be the set port gets called when you load it from the heartrate plugin thing where it loads your save data. Then the UI runs its start method and validates the port value that you get assigned to that manager's port, which will then populate the UI with the currently loaded port value. We then run the validate function, which makes sure that the loaded value is not less than 0 or greater than the accepted bounds, and then goes back and sets the actual value of the port in the manager to whatever we validated it to, which is kind of a weird back and forth, but the end result of all of this means that even if I type in something completely fucky in my save data that says like the port's, -1 million, it should just correct itself. For example, when I boot it up right now, because there's nothing saved, it will say port 8080 is the default. check this out. What'd I tell you? Oh, wait. You didn't see nothing. What'd I tell you? There we go, 8080. And now, I'm going to change it. Oh, I didn't actually add a place where it actually writes the save value. But we'll do this. 8081. I'll reboot it. It's going to load to 8080 again. 8080. Okay. So now, one more piece of magic here. In the thing where we save our data. I just need to do load, save model data, save global data, data.api server port equals API manager instance port. Okay. Okay. So now I can show you the magic in real time. We will navigate over here. We will set our port to 9001 because it's a good number. We will start our API server. It will start up. I can go into my browser where I will then be able to connect to the port 9001. I will then tell it on message, spit out what we're getting. We get our fire hose of data. A guy in my chat's going to post the wave emoji 5 times in a row to indicate that it's a fire hose, assuming he's still listening. If he's not, that's fine too. We get all of the information that we could ever need about the various parameters that this plugin outputs. I then turn off the plugin in Unity. I'm going to boot it back up, and it's going to remember that I want this on port 9001. What'd I tell you? There we go. It just simply works. And it's good enough for me, and that's about exactly 2 hours on the clock. So I think I'm probably going to call it here, clean this up a bit off stream, and then get this out to the people who need it for their various beta tasks that they're working on, like bleeding edge technology stuff. ASAP, they can let me know if they find this useful or not. But overall successful. It just works, yeah. You will not believe how much liquid this plugin can absorb. Thank you for the stream. You're quite welcome. It's been so long since I streamed. I feel terrible that I am like a quote-unquote streamer who basically never streams. I feel like a VTweeter sometimes, but I don't really tweet in like a character at all. I usually just post pet photos or like whatever I'm looking at outside because I spend a lot of time touching grass. But I, more often than not, will just have projects that I don't feel I can stream. Like, for example, going back to, you know, the pit crew, I felt that I couldn't stream this because it was like a surprise birthday gift, right? I am ending stream, but hello, Rodea. How was your, you had like a beach ASMR earlier today, right? I remember that. I will give you a shout out, I think. I think this works. That works? You hopped in late. Engaging in ASMR. I'm not a big ASMR guy. I gotta be honest with you. So, I typically don't attend those. Please don't take it personally. But I'm the kind of guy who's like, you have to be at least 6 feet away from me, preferably 12. So, my typical understanding of ASMR, where people are like talking very softly to me, I find unnerving. I'm sure you do great. You have a lovely speaking voice, and I do enjoy listening to you speak on your just chatting streams. But I'm not typically an ASMR guy, so I don't attend those too often. But yeah, Rodea is very cool. She's a warlock type VTuber. I know typically when I watch her, she's playing Genshin Impact and doing a very, very powerful just chatting stream. She's very chatty. I think that's one of her stream tags. It's good. Somebody needs to be. She's got a lot of polish on her stream. I really like her stream overlay. The whole thing is put together quite well. But yeah, you are at the tail end here. It's like 10 o'clock on my coast right now, and I do have work tomorrow. It is not a national holiday for some reason. Yeah. And yeah, literally, like, big mood. I'm always engaging myself in projects that I can't stream. And then I don't play video games other than Dota, as I established, where I have 5,000 hours as of today. And I don't want to stream Dota because I feel like that's just a miserable experience for everyone, or I'll get stream sniped, which is just gonna make me mad because I'm not good enough to deal with that. And then I only have the weekends to stream because my weekdays are very, very, very regimented. So who knows? I don't stream very often. I hope I'm still making the good, useful tools. That's all I want to do. I've said this to a couple people, but my like ambition as a streamer is to be more like HN of Hololive, where I'm like a support type, I guess, and not so much that I am producing the community or the video content myself too much. I simply want to exist in the community and provide assistance to anybody who asks for it and needs it. That is my only goal, and to that end, I will stream very rarely. But hopefully next weekend I can get both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday I'm looking to do another programming stream for this plugin, not this birthday gift. This has already been delivered. So yeah, support type VTuber, exactly. I have a high healing stat, and I can add powerful buffs and purge debuffs from my allies. That's what it's all about. My attack damage is very low, my move speed is very low, but high healing. Yeah, you wish. I mean, you don't know what my legs look like. You never know. I could be wearing stilettos down there. Yeah, thank you. Again, typically my programming is on Saturday at this time, not Sunday, but I was out all day yesterday. I was actually at the Cape, so that was fun. But next weekend I don't have any plans for traveling or anything like that. So Saturday, 8 o'clock, this time, 2 hours earlier than right now, in fact, I will be programming again. Hopefully the API stuff will be in a much more complete state, because I will be working on this off-stream as much as I can, for the sake of those who need it in a timely manner. But I can, like, show where I've gotten and do some more polish on stream next week. And then Sunday, if I'm not cooking pizza in the kitchen, which I might not because that is a very, very tiring activity, surprisingly, hosting a cooking stream in your own home is, like, a lot. I might just do, like, a one-off game. I've had a really, really, really powerful itch to play Sonic Heroes for the PlayStation 2. And seeing the new footage of Sonic Frontiers, which looks very bad and not at all cohesive or engaging, just makes me yearn to play what I remember as being a decently good 3D Sonic game. So I might just do like a one-off video game stream, as weird as that is, on Sunday. But no promises ever. There's a reason I don't post schedules. All my friends post these great, beautiful schedule graphics at the start of every week, and they're like, at this time you can find me here. And I'll be like, if I let people know 12 hours in advance, that's probably good enough, right? My personal philosophy. I don't know. I definitely follow in Kaeson's shoes. Or in her footsteps, I should say. In that regard, where it's just like, let people know whenever you feel like it, and they will show up, maybe. But yeah, that brings me to 2 hours, and that is the point of the stream where I go find somebody else who's online who we can do the Twitch raid for. I don't have, for once in my life though, I don't have any friends online at this hour. Does anybody have any recommendations? Otherwise, I will just end the stream normally, I think. Oh, actually, no, I've got one. I've got one. Though I don't really know this person. They were asking me for some API help because they had they had, quote, a banger VTube Studio plugin idea, and they were looking around if anybody had any experience with setting that kind of thing up. So I gave them the best advice I could and pointed them to my library. They are a streaming duo. I don't know which one is streaming right now. Raid, Sigrid, and Bird. It just says they're doing VR chat right now. I don't know what's going on. I can't claim to be like a long-time watcher of their stream, but I know of them peripherally, like a second-degree connection. So tell them I said hello. Give them the skeleton emote, the old pizza, and I will catch you next time. Bonus era, and good night.